Okay, so we all remember nodding off to sleep during an algebra lesson. And after being rudely awakened by the teacher, we murmured something along the lines of, well, it's not like we're going to use this stuff anyway. Okay, so it turns out that some of it we actually will. Now, understand, that's not to say that the entire school system is absolved from the blame of teaching thousands of concepts that will not and never be used in any context other than the classroom. No, the school system should be held accountable because they regularly prioritize theoretical concepts over real-life skills. But that's a discussion for another day. For today, the topic revolves around revisiting some of those principles from algebra to make sense of two formulas that are essential for anyone seeking financial intelligence. And really, that should be all of us. Financial intelligence leads to financial freedom. And financial freedom leads to, well, happiness. Okay, I'm not suggesting that financial freedom is the sole requirement for happiness, but let's face it, it certainly doesn't hurt. Now, before I introduce these formulas, know that I'm fully aware that the internet is loaded with compound interest calculators to do this work for you. And although most of them are linked to a series of ads for mortgages and lines of credit, they do make the number crunching fairly easy. Here's the thing. We need to take ownership of our money. When we understand how the calculations work, it empowers us to take charge of our finances. And see, that's what this whole channel is about, empowering you to take control of your money so you can build a path toward financial freedom. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos that will help you increase your financial intelligence. So, today, we're going to take a look at two formulas as an introduction to the time value of money. That time value of money is what will make an intelligent investor out of all of us if properly understood. The first formula to determine the future value of a lump sum of cash looks like this. In this formula, the future value, FV, is calculated by taking the present value, PV, and multiplying it by the sum of the interest rate, written in decimal form, and the number 1, which is then taken to the power of the number of periods, which we're going to calculate in years. Okay, here's what I mean by that. Let's say we have $1,000 to invest. Well, that's our present value, PV. You can assume, based on averages and investments in the stock market, another subject that will be discussed at a later point, a 10% interest rate, and you want to invest it for 10 years. The formula now looks like this. Future value equals 1,000 times 1 plus 0.10 to the 10th power. In this calculation, your future value turns out to be $2,593.74. Now consider that for just a moment. Over the course of 10 years, earning a steady 10% a year, that $1,000 is now worth over $2,500. Okay, one important thing to keep in mind is that this calculation assumes there will be no additional contributions, just the one lump sum. Even without contributions, that money quickly begins to make money, and then the money it makes money. The fallacy most people bring to the equation of interest is forgetting that interest compounds. One could easily assume that $1,000 invested at 10% makes $100 a year. So after 10 years, you'd have $2,000. But that extra $593 on top of the $2,000 is the beauty of compound interest, and it just gets higher and higher. Okay, consider the same formula, but with 20 years instead of 10. So it looks like this. Now you've got a future value of $6,727.50, and you're still starting with the same 1,000. By the logic presented earlier, one would assume that earning 10% year after year, you should only have 3,000 at the end of 20 years. But it's the compounding effect of the interest inherent in this formula that demonstrates clearly what Einstein said about compound interest being the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Okay, for our second formula, we're going to work backward, determining what we need as a present value, PV, to reach a set future value. Suppose that we want to retire with $2 million. We know that we want to retire by age 65, so we want to find out just how much we would need now to meet that goal by age 65. Now again, this is assuming we're not making regular contributions, we're just looking at a lump sum. So here's the formula in reverse. We want to determine what our present value, PV, needs to be in order to reach a desired future value, FV. For our intent, we're going to consider it from the perspective of retirement. So we want $2 million in the bank. Again, we're assuming a 10% interest rate, and the number of years depends on how long we have to save. If we are, say, 35 years old, we can assume we have 30 years before retirement. This means that our formula would actually end up looking like this once we plug in the numbers. Now, in this calculation, the present value, PV, turns out to be $114,617. Seriously, just $114,617. Over a period of 30 years with no additional contributions, that amount would turn into $2 million due to, you guessed it, the beauty of compound interest. Okay, this is the kind of math I can get behind. The dream of retiring a millionaire is within everyone's grasp when you consider that over time, money makes money, which then makes money. The truth is, these formulas are fun. There's nothing like sitting around projecting timelines into the future and considering what your present lump sum might turn into in, say, 10 or 20 years. It might even be a deterrent to spending. Before you drop $800 on a new set of golf clubs, just remember that in 5 years, that could be worth $1,288. Hey, it's just some food for thought, and a reminder to occasionally stay awake in math class. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe, and happy investing!